All right, check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear me loud and clear? What's going on? Stream is not canceled. We are here. Dakota's traveling, so I am filling in today. Welcome everyone to Slow Markets. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully the audio is good, sound is good video is good as well. Confirmation in the chat, getting a lot of all clear, so we are good to go. Happy Wednesday, everybody. October 8th, 2025. We got markets moving, and we'll be talking about them shortly. But hopefully, everybody's having a good day so far. Had a good trading day, good start to your week. If you're wondering where Dakota is, I dropped him off at the airport a couple hours ago. He was spending some time in New York and New Jersey, but needs to head back to Utah, his rightful home. So I will be filling in while Dakota is traveling, but he should be back on the show tomorrow with Baron. Finally kicked him out. Yeah, yeah. Overstayed his welcome. I was gonna have to start charging him rent if he if he stayed any longer. But it's been a great week. It's been a great week, man. Me and Dakota have been working together for a long time now, and just to get to spend some time, hanging out with each other, trading, of course, but then just talking life and all that stuff in general was a good time. So safe travels, Dakota, and we will see you all. We'll see him tomorrow on Topstep TV. Right, but let's get into these markets. I know we got markets really moving a lot. Anyone actively in trades right now? I see a bunch going on. Really, my first time getting to a look at the charts. But I was texting Dakota actually. He was like, "Hey, man, look at gold." We were talking about a level that we talked about last night, actually, 40/20s, where we came down and bounced, looking like a 25-point bounce off of there. So again, anything we talk about here is going to be for educational purposes only, not a suggestion to take a trade. Shout out to Bruno, who already posted the risk disclosure in the chat, but make sure you read that. There is considerable risk with trading futures, and you want to make sure you're putting risk behind your own ideas and not following anyone on the internet. But let's get into these charts. Where do we even start? Let's start with the Nasdaq because we have equities making all-time highs. And we'll take a look. We'll start with the daily. Uh, Really strong uptrend. Hogan and I talked about this during the opening call this morning, but we haven't been spending a lot of time below prior day lows in the Nasdaq. And of course, today's price action earlier today on Wednesday, which was we started off Tuesday into Wednesday. We're now looking at Thursday's price action. Really bullish daily candle here. We had an above average daily ATR move, and into the close. This was a kind of a slow grind up type of day. What we've been seeing recently is a really sharp move in the beginning of the New York session, and then we consolidate. But today's price action was just a slow grind up. Who was in that trade? Did I stop using VWAP? Absolutely not. It's going to be on all of my charts. We'll take a look at it in a second. Anyone in the equity trade to the long side? I know for myself, I did try to short the S&P a couple of times off of 6,800. We just really got no traction to the downside, and it took forever for the S&P to make a new all-time high. But the Nasdaq, completely different story. Really strong market here, and what we're seeing is, on a daily, if we get even a half of a daily ATR move to the upside, we're talking about 25,500 in the Nasdaq now. That may not happen today. We'll see how the market responds. We can already see we made a new all-time high, 25,394, and rejected up there. I didn't get to see what was on the books up there at 400. But again, we are less than a daily ATR away from 25,500. So, very cautious about shorting this market. We do have Powell speaking tomorrow. We know some of the economic data that we're used to getting. We're supposed to get jobless claims tomorrow. We're not going to get that because of the government shutdown, but we do have Powell speaking tomorrow, which has the potential to move the markets. Can you guys hear me? You guys should be able to hear me, right? All right, Abed, you got me nervous there for a second, Abed, but we should be good on the audio. Bruno's my eyes in the sky. Thank you, Bruno. We are good to go. So seeing the Nasdaq, make this all-time high, 25,394. We are seeing a nice pullback here. Let's go down to a 30-minute chart now, and we have this Globex open. I like to look at the first 30-minute range. All right, so we have a 26-point range here, 25,340s up to 25,366. And for whoever asked if I stop using VWAP, we're going to put a VWAP on this chart as well. So what I'm seeing here is an uptrending market. We pushed into all-time highs, rejecting right below that major 400 level, and we're pulling back into where we opened for the day. Volume so far, this red line is above that range, which is telling me that there were, some convinced buying in this. Is, not the most aggressive buy side move, and we'll see an aggressive move in gold. Uh, but here, there are some buyers trying to push this higher. Ideally, the way I'm looking at this is if I can get an opportunity to buy somewhere below this VWAP, that allows me to limit risk on a new low of day if we do make one here. I don't, the rejection off of 400s is a nice spot to look for a potential short. That trade is already kind of playing out. So I don't really see a great short here, but I'm looking for areas that the market might pull back um, to buy the dip and get into the trend. So right now, if we come down and hold this 350-ish area here, I may look to start to scale into a long. But if we don't hold, I'm looking at this 20 moving average on the 30-minute chart, which is down at 25,304, call it 25,300. I'm looking for that as an area to pull back to. David Mills in the chat. What's up? What's up to everyone in the chat? Hopefully everybody's doing well. So that's a quick rapid fire on the Nasdaq. I have some charts up on the side, just 4 charts up on the side. So I am watching all 4 of these markets, looking for if any volume trades, any heavy volume trades through the market that could give us a little bit of a show of hand of what market participants are trying to do right now. But let's see. The Rising Star Antonio called the short on gold. I took it and made bank. Yeah, it was a nice trade. It's a nice trade. Let's take a look really quick then at gold. We can see gold made that new all-time high today at 40.81. And this is a market that has presented some short opportunities after making all-time highs. I think you got to be pretty quick about it when it happens because even though a 2 hour and a half we had to the downside in gold, almost immediately getting bought back up. Um, you know, I, it's a hard market to be short. We took a short in the opening call this morning. And almost immediately, JD's like, "Hey, do we even like this trade? Because it's a it's a tough market to be short, and we can see why." Right, gold continuing to just grind up. Um, we started talking about, hey, we're about 20% off of 5,000 in gold. Sounds like a far way away, but the way this market has been running, in a way, a lot of the metals in general have been running, are pretty aggressive. Right now, we saw a pretty heavy sell-off to start the Globex session. Kind of sitting in the middle of that 30-minute range now. Pretty big range here, 40.65s down to 40.33. We did get a nice reversal pattern at the lows. Anyone who joins at the buzzer, you guys know what trade I'm talking about here. But we had this high volume near the lows of the session so far. Once we close above it, that's a nice reversal pattern. So, if you were buying the dip in gold somewhere near that 40.20 level, right now what I'm looking at is we have this Globex range here. We have 40.50 right above us, major psych level, right? That's not going to be, and I'm calling it a major psych level just because it's whole number levels. I just like watching the market's response to whole number levels. A couple of things I'm looking at here. This high volume candle down here, and this one that we're trading in currently, right? I want to watch the market's reaction to this high, right? If we can't find buyers above this high where we saw some big selling coming in, this may be a spot to limit risk where I can go short at the high of this range, but kind of fall back into 40.30s. But I'm also very cautious with gold shorts because it's been such a strong market. Been such a strong market here. Anybody catch any of this move in gold, either to the downside or on this reversal? Pretty Lily says, "Thank you. I actually understood that. You caught the long, nice trade." Hopefully, I explained that pretty concisely. Again, anything I say is for educational purposes only. We all, have a hypothesis for where we think the market can go, but ultimately, the market is going to decide it, and it's our job to just try to find a spot to get in. Globex. So butterfly trails. What I'm saying is Globex. The first, it's the opening of the market, right? So the market opens up at 6 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Central, called the Globex session. What I like to do is look at the first half an hour of that session. So 6 p.m. to 6:30. Got some traders catching some of the short, was short from 40-30. See here. If I tag you in a tweet, will you review my XFA performance? We may be able to do that today. It's just me today, so uh, we'll go over the markets, take a look if any trades are setting up. We'll try to take those, but maybe the last half an hour or so we can do some trade review. We can do some trade reviews. Let's take a look really quick. How many people we got watching here? We got 900,003 people watching right now. 119 likes. Let's say this: if we get to 400 likes by the top of the hour, I'll do trade reviews. Right? How do you pick candles to put fibs on? For me, I am just looking at high volume, right? We have traders that are going to say, hey, highs and lows of swings, but volume kind of leads everything that I do and all my analysis. So I really, you might have a trader that uses a volume profile, right? They do something like this. And you can see the value area or the point of control moving here. Is that point of control? Is that value area? Give me 1 second. Let's make sure we're okay. So point of control, right? You can see point of control right here, this red line. For me, I like to see the candle that created that point of control, all the volume traded in here. And just visually, it looks a little bit better to me. So what you'll see me doing is this volume indicator on the bottom of my charts. Anything that sticks out as an anomaly, which is usually like 3x, 4x, 5x, the average volume. This red line down here is the average. I'll frame that out and looking for the market's response to that. Right? Because something happened here. A ton of volume traded there for whatever reason. Look at this one earlier in the day in gold. Right? So this was 3:06 Eastern time. You see how when we open up, this is the 6 p.m. open. You see how we reject right at 50% of that high volume candle. So I like to mark out the high, low, 50% of all these candles and then just watch the market's response to them. How's my VIP team doing? They're doing well. They're doing well. Kind of a mixed bag. I have a couple of traders that have passed into XFAs. I think we have two that have taken payouts, and then a couple of others either trying out different strategies. Really trying to figure out working on risk management over everything. That was the focus for the first month and a half of the VIP session. Uh, but they're doing well. We'll try to do more updates on them, but they are doing well. Let's see. All right, so this candle right here, I'm actually going to take. I want to be short gold after we've gotten a pullback. So there was some volume that traded at 40.20 yesterday. We kind of swept that already. So it's kind of looking like the pullback that we already need in gold is over, but I actually don't hate this short here. I'm going to take it with micros, small size, and not risking a whole lot. Actually, you know what? I'll wait. I have an area that I think I want to execute a trade in this zone up here. I'm going to wait the 15 minutes for the top of the hour for that volume to come in for the Asia session. For the Shanghai session. So I'm going to wait 15 minutes. I have a general area, but that volatility could spike us up. I'll wait here. How do you anchor VWAP? It's a drawing tool. On the left side of your charts here, 5 icons down, you have projection. Halfway down that menu, you have anchored VWAP. I put a star next to mine because I use it all the time. So it's in this panel here, this drawing panel. Click on the 2 candles with the line going through it, and then just click on a candle, and it'll anchor VWAP from there. I do like gold shorts here, though. You can buy this hat from the Topstep store, shop.topstep.com. Put a link in the chat. Dakota did survive New York. He did survive. He said he has to come back. There's a lot to do, man. If you know New York, there is so much to do, right? You could spend 4 days in Manhattan. You could spend a whole week in each of the boroughs and not see it all. So he still has a lot to do, but we left some stuff for him to come back next summer and do. So gold is consolidating in a tight range on the 200 on the 1 minute chart. Yeah, I could see that. I do like this short here. The target would be 40/30s, kind of the low of this high volume candle. It's not going to wait. That's a little frustrating, but it's okay. One of the things that me and Dakota really talked about this week, and is just being able to trade in person, is really executing on the things that we see. That's my focus going forward. What I've realized is just doing these segments, whether it's opening call or just sitting there having a conversation. I have text messages from Dakota saying in gold, when gold is trading at 40/40, hey, it looks like they're going to bring it down to 40/20. Executing on that information is extremely important. So. That is a major focus for me right now because the reads are on point. Um, I actually was looking at 40/20 as a buy yesterday in gold, uh, which is proven to be a good area as well. Um, so clicking the button when the market says so, really going to be a focus going forward. Short at 4,000 minimums. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We have seen, gold make an all-time high and then sell off 70, 80 points. And that was in a half an hour it did that. So it can sell off if it wants to. Looks like it's doing so right now. So you guys see how what I was talking about here with this high volume candle, how we trade up to the upper extreme of it and we reject. That upper extreme is right near 40/50. Uh, volume, this VWAP from that point is flat. So what that's telling me is although volume is trading, price is moving around, it's not very directional. So when we come back up to this high, this is saying range bound market, at least in this range for now, until volume starts to push out of this range somewhere. You don't like the hoodies in the store? Leave a Trustpilot review on Topstep. Leave a Topstep Trustpilot review. Make sure it's a 5-star review because everything else is great. And then say, hey, you know what, you guys are amazing, but I can help you design some hoodies. And then send us hoodie designs if you have them. See, nice selling here in gold. And the stop would be right above 50s here on this rejection. I am choosing to wait for that Shanghai session open. Whether that's the right choice or not, it's the choice I made, so I'm going to live with it. I'm not going to go ahead and try to chase the trade now because it's doing what I looked for it to do. Uh, will there be a backtesting feature in the future? I think there will be. I'm sure eventually. Topstep X is still a very new platform, so I'm sure there will be. There's some other things that probably need to be worked out before we get backtesting, but what I've seen some traders do is, using the Topstep X API, I think they've kind of built their own backtesting a little bit, but it's not something that I have a timeline on. Dakota is traveling back to Utah, probably somewhere over Chicago right now. Taking a look at the Nasdaq. Somebody said the Japanese yen was interesting as well. And if you guys haven't seen me look at markets before or analyze markets before, I will look at a few different markets. Ideally, what I'm looking for is a setup, and whichever market is presenting that setup. I don't see too much in the yen right now. It's been a great sell off, right? It's been a great sell off for the past 3 days. One of the trades I like to look for, me and Coach Paul call it an urgency trade, where we mark out that first half an hour from the Globex session and we look for VWAP to do this, right? So you see how this volume is leaving this range right away, right? That's a trade. I'll try to look for this trade in whatever market is willing to present it. Right now, we're not really seeing that in gold because that range was so big. That first 30-minute range was so big. But I'm not seeing too much in the yen right now, right? If we look at from the start of the Globex session, right, and on a higher time frame, and it's in a downtrend, right? But we have to trade what the market is presenting to us today, and right now this is presenting range, right? Here's the first 30 minutes. VWAP is still in that. Price is leaving, So the only trade I do see is a short here, risking these highs, but that's probably a C plus trade at this point. So I got to decide whether or not I want to put risk behind that. Does Shanghai session bring in good volume? It usually does. We see, Dakota when he's every time he's running slow markets, we see, waiting for the top of the hour. Sometimes does present a good trade, and let's just look right. Let's look at yesterday. Here's the volume for that Shanghai session, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Here was the day before. More volume here. Right? So I don't know where that volume is going to go, and that's kind of why I'm just sitting on the sidelines and just waiting for it to start. It's like, you trade the New York session. How many people are taking a trade at 9:28 Eastern time right before all of that volume comes in for the New York session? You're probably just going to wait at that point. Can you please talk about more about the volume leaving the range and how you would trade it? Sure. Let's do it on a shorter time frame. I just want to give you an example of it working, quote unquote working. Let's say I looked at, instead of looking at the first 30-minute range, let's say I looked at the first minute of the Globex session, right? So here's that range. Attach volume to it. What is this red line is aggressively leaving this range, right? So at that point, my job is to try to get in the flow of the market and sell as close to this aggressive volume as possible, right? Because somebody's coming in, hitting the bid, selling this market lower. So it's not my job to try to fight this. You see how aggressive this left to the downside? These are 1 minute candles. And in 9 minutes, that volume was already leaving the range. Let me try to find something where the volume is not leaving the range. Something like this. This is the 10-year futures that don't get very directional all the time. And this is a flat line. You see how flat this line is compared to that other one? And yes, this is a higher time frame, but you get the idea, right? This is telling me that if this volume is flat this way, any price extensions outside of that range, and usually the range is going to be based on some type of high volume, any price extensions out of that is kind of empty price action, right? There is no bigger market participant pushing it, because if there was, then VWAP will be leaving that range as well. So when, go back to gold, when volume aggressively leaves a range, even if I don't get in the flow with it, the last thing I want to do is fade it until that volume stops. Right now, you can see at the low here, we have this high volume candle at this low. We get extended from VWAP, and then we start to see a reversal. Now I can start to look for longs. Right. And yeah, it's going to look like a 3-bar reversal sometimes. Right. Sometimes it looks like a 3-bar reversal. Sometimes it'll be, it'll take 5 bars to reverse. Richard Harris missed his take profit. Always another trade. What do I like for entries? I like something like this, right? So this, anyone who joins at the buzzer, they know exactly what this trade is. And this is a 3-bar reversal. But why am I picking this one? Because we had the highest volume of the session outside of the open, and we closed above it. So this close above, stop on the other side, pretty much a 3-bar reversal as well. Call it what you want. Uh, that is a confirmation to me. I also love these. I like continuation trades. So a lot of times we'll get high volume. I'm not trying to sell this low, right? I'm very cautious of trying to chase this. But when we get a pushback up to the high of the range and we don't close above, that's telling me that this volume was heavy enough to still hold the market lower. So I like these shorts as well. We'll see. I may take a trade in gold here. It's kind of setting up this exact same trade, right? We can see it played out once. I'm considering whether or not it's still a good trade, because we got down to a level that was a target for a short, right? If I took a short, I don't have my quant tower charts shared. Let me see if I can bring those up actually. But I have this level marked out as a target for the market to get to. So I'm questioning whether or not we actually have to get down there again. So I'm going to wait for, we got 4 minutes before the top of the hour. Again, if you have any questions, Edgy says gold standard J trade in there. I mean, man, was it? What time was that? That the volume traded yesterday. When was that? That was yesterday. So on the way up yesterday, actually 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Eastern time. 10 p.m. Eastern time yesterday, we had a spike of volume. Let me see if I can trade it. See if I can show it while we wait. What's today's date? Today's the 8th, so this would be on the 7th. The 7th, which was last night. All right. So this right here, this candle right here. And why am I marking out that one? I told you guys, and you guys know probably a little bit how I trade, but I use quant hour. You ever see Jack on Topstep TV and he says, "Hey, we had X amount of contracts trade in a second." There's a feature in quant hour that can do that for you. Uh, so in this range, in that candle, there was 400 contracts traded in a second. 86% of that was positive delta. What does that mean? An aggressive market buyer came in with 400 plus contracts in this range. That's a buyer that I don't want to fight. Am I going to trade 400 contracts to get that person out of the way? I'm not. So when we come back down to their price and we can see, we mark out that candle, what do? We trade right into 50% of it. That's a real buyer there. They're defending that position. So, uh, you know, we came back down to their price tonight. Not a coincidence that we see a ton of volume trade there as well. That could be a long in gold defending their position. Not a move that I want to try to fight, or a good spot to try to look to get in long with them. Let's see, we got a minute and 30 seconds before this open. What did Bruno send me here? True backtesting is in the feature request. Where can we get to that? Feature voting. You want backtesting? Search for true backtesting here. Looks like it already has 91 upvotes. It's already in review by the team. But sounds like it's in the works. Sounds like it's in the works. How can we use Quant Hour? You can sign in with your TopStepX account. Some of the features that I use on Quant Tower are paid features. So I'm never going to suggest paid features if you're not really going to use them. But I use the volume analysis package in Quant Tower, and it kind of just helps me understand the markets. How many likes we need for trade reviews? I think I said 400. How many are we at? 275? Is that right? Am I seeing the right number there? 276. We got 1,300 people now. Is it wrong if I bump that number up? Copper and gold shorts are doing nicely. 20 seconds here. I'm going to watch gold. I do see the Nasdaq kind of just consolidating right now. May want to put on a crude oil trade as well. But let's see what happens here with gold. And I'd be looking for a short back into 30s, but this volume is going to tell us something here. Or it's not. I can't move the goalpost. All right, fine. Richard Harris, what trade are you in? Here's that trade. See if we get some follow through to the downside here. Nothing yet. Okay, being patient. Kind of just sitting in the middle of this range, right? What I would really love is for us to push above this high, sweep this high, no continuation, and then I'll get the short. Because right now, this is dead set in the middle of the range, right? Where it feels like a 50-50 here. It could drop, and I'm saying middle of the range because this is that high volume candle, middle of the range for session so far as well, right? So feels like a 50-50, maybe leaning slightly towards the short. Yep, just waiting. I'm gonna take it. NQ selling as well. NQ's kind of just sitting here. Gold's the one that's selling. I'm okay waiting for confirmation on this trade, right? So I might sacrifice trade location a little bit. Okay, I'm short 2 micros. Gonna risk this high. So risking about 260 bucks. 40 30s is my target for management first. Let's see. All right, I want some continuation. I may cut this trade early if we don't get any continuation right away. We do have VWAP kind of being supportive right now. Not risking a whole lot. I really don't want to see this above 40 43. Right, so I have this stop up here, but really my risk is kind of right here. So risking less than 150 bucks on this because I may just cut it if it gets back up there. Harris is getting what he wants right now. I see. What trade are you in? Oh, he's in the Nasdaq. Okay. Is it better to scale out or to market out? I mean, you could market out scaling. You could scale out marketing out. Getting a little follow. So now all I need is a seller below 33s. Check Nasdaq. It's back up at VWAP. I can see Nasdaq popped like 10 points here. I'm looking for a bounce at 40 33. Yeah, I could see that. Okay, so right now, all I want is all I'm looking for is some follow through. This right. So same way, if this is where I'm anchoring the start of my day to, this volume, this red line needs to leave this range or we range. Right. Price can leave, but I would really love to see volume leave with it, which means that there is an aggressive seller coming in. And the low of this candle, which was our high volume candle, is the one that needs to give out for now. Get a little push here below 33s. 32 half. All right. Trade doesn't need to be a loser at this point because we could get range bound. Real nice volume coming in there. There we go. Nice flush. I'll take $80 on that if we pop back into this range. See what happens at 20s now. Got the sell below 33. Could take 150 bucks and this just be a profitable day on this XFA. Nice continuation here. I'm going to take one off. Market buy one. We got one for a runner. Okay, and now look at where we stopped, right? We marked out that high volume candle at the low, right? Look at where we stopped. That's why I'm managing this trade right now. If we get continuation and follow through, then yeah, we could sell all the way through it. But a bounce there for now, I got to manage the trade for what the market's willing to present. This volume here is higher than this one. So we are getting aggressive, and that's why I waited. Right? I could have took it and got better trade location, but at least now I have confirmation that that's where the market is going. A lot of times we try to figure out how to catch these highs and lows, but was there anything definitively saying that we were going to sell here? No. But once the sellers came in, once the volume came in, and they started selling it, then yeah, I'll just get on a train with them. But now I want to see some continuation. What happens at the high of this candle? Need to see some selling coming in here. Already took one off in profit. Again, this scale out, I'll just get out, take 40 bucks. There we go. So we're out. So what was the market willing to present? Where was the area that it had the potential to bounce? And am I looking on a shorter time frame? I am, but I'm also shorting a market that is very in a very heavy trend to the upside, right? So I have to manage what is presenting to me in this time frame right now. Could I zoom out and look at a 30-minute and say these are much further targets to the downside? There's a case for that. There's a case for gold to continue to sell right back to 4,000s. That's not the trade I'm really measuring right now. If we sell below this candle though, if we sell below this one, gold is going much lower, in my opinion. Right? We're going to those 4,000s, and we are seeing that flow continue. Right? We're not getting a reversal yet, but I'm okay taking the profits that I saw on this trade. Coach J. I'm a huge fan of Richard. I'm a huge fan of Coach J. Richard Harris, you know what? You remind me a lot of. I know you said you live in Calabasas or one of those. You remind me a lot of Kanye. I love Kanye as much as Kanye loves Kanye. Richard Harris loves Richard Harris as much as Richard Harris loves Richard Harris. If that makes sense. Um, see some traders in the chat saying, you learned a lot there, or you took that trade based on my analysis. Hopefully, you guys understood why we took that trade. And if I'm not here, if I'm not on Topstep TV, you could take that same trade. Not the biggest trade in the world, but and I don't think it's over. Honestly, how I probably should have managed that is keeping my stop above the high of this high volume candle. Because what happened here? High volume meant continuation, right? High volume. We never closed above the high. This means continuation. This could be the same thing here. High volume, higher volume. We haven't closed above the high. Could mean continuation. If we start to close above the high, then it starts to look like this and a reversal pattern. But if it's holding, and right now it's holding 50%, this is still a valid trade. And manage your trades how you see fit. Nothing I say is for trade advice, no financial advice, but for educational purposes only, this is still a valid trade. But I plan to take profits in this candle. That's what I did. Move on to the next one. Right. Why 3 minute for the fibs? I just used 30-minute and 3 minute candles. You could use a 5 minute, right? You could use a 1 minute. I wouldn't get caught up in trying to, find the best time frame between 1, 3, and 5. They're all the same thing. Uh, they're all the same thing. How much are you using Bookmap for actual entries and exits? I don't use Bookmap at all. I use order flow information, right? I'm looking at I have another screen up on the side. Just I'll show you guys my quant hour screen. Give me 1 second. Let me it might look a little crazy, but I'm using some of the order flow information from quant hour. I have a time and sales up, and then yeah, this trade is still valid. I don't know where you got in. Still valid below 37 half. But we see this reaction, right? We need to find some new sellers in a market that's been making all-time highs pretty much every day. Give me 1 second on the quant hour charts. Richard Harris got your take profit on that trade. Nice trade. Uh, Hold on 1 second here, guys. I'm just getting the quant hour chart over here. All right, David Mills, you have a good one. All right, and again, I'm showing Quantower because it's a platform that you can use with your TopStep account. Some of the data that you're going to see on here, you do have to pay for. Full disclosure, maybe I need to become a Quantower affiliate. I won't sell prop firm affiliate codes because we don't do that here at TopStep. But maybe I could sell Quantower affiliate codes. Tell them to give everybody 99% off. But let's see here. Can you guys see my Quantower screen now? Oh man, I'm muted. Oh, look at that. Muted, muted, muted. Giving out all the sauce. That's why. We were gonna put that behind a paywall. Um, all right, let's try that one more time. Uh, so what we are looking at, I don't need to hit the mute button. I'm here by myself. Uh, all right, so we have a time in sales. This one's filtered, 6 contracts or more. This one is unfiltered, just give me the pace of the market. And then I have what's called power trades in Quant Hour. All that is when Jack is just like, oh, we got a tape bomb, X amount of contracts traded in a second. These little boxes here. And as Topstep X grows as a platform, I'm gonna ask the team to get some of these features on that platform, um, because to me, I think they help with my trading, and it's just gonna make Topstep X that much better of a platform. But you can see all I'm marking out is high volume, just in the specific price that it's trading. See how this here says 200? The volume is 280, so 280 contracts traded in a second. 90% of that was negative delta. What does that mean? 250 contracts, maybe, somewhere around there. Somebody came in and market order sold. See the market's reaction to that zone, right? Every time we trade up here, this is why I like that short. We're at the upper extreme of the range where we already saw some high volume trade, and somebody came in and sold again in that same price. I like that seller. That's somebody I want to follow, right? Because they're selling with intention, in my opinion, right? We don't know what their intentions are. They could be selling to open or close a position, but every time the market comes back up to where they sold it, they're continuing to sell, right? That's why I like that trade so much. And then the level that we had marked out down here, you see this blue one? This was marked out from before. You see how we tagged exactly 50% of this? This was from yesterday. What candle was that? This high volume candle where we had 525 contracts traded in a second, 80% of that positive delta. I'm marking out the high and low of that candle because somebody bought there and they had intentions. And they're still buying it when we get down there, right? So management on that trade, remember what we talked about before? I think we already got the satisfied pullback into these 20s where that buyer was. This is the candle that tested it. So I have to manage my position into that candle. See where we are now? Kind of right back up to my entry. Range-bound market. Oh, Nasdaq, look at this. Good call, chat. Let's switch over to the Nasdaq really quick. I'm gonna switch back over to Topstep X. Give me 1 second to get out of here. Nasdaq just took off. What was that? Richard Harris, nice out on that trade. All the top. What is going on here? Wow. Really nice selling there in the equities across the board. Okay, we're back below this low. I want to chase this, but there's some room here. There's definitely room in this market. Down to this 20 moving average here, 309s. This looks like continuation volume. All right, so here's where we do. So MNQ. If we can get bounce up to 344, I may short this. And anything we say is for educational purposes only. This looks like potential for continuation volume. Was there news? Let me take a look. Let me pull up Mental Juice. May not be news. Honestly, I think this is kind of technical. We pushed up into an all-time high at those 400s, couldn't take it out. And we're turning. The last headline I see from President Trump, expect Gaza to be rebuilt. China Commerce Ministry. There's some comments coming from China. Yeah, some comments coming out of China right now. Let's see. I'm not really seeing anything that's popping up like that would cause this move. But I think this is follow through volume potentially here. You see that how this VWAP is already kind of slanting lower. Where I don't want to preempt the trade. What I'm looking for here is a bounce up to 40s to sell, but I may not get that. That flow looks kind of. Never fails to short after the Globex all-time high. Yeah, I mean, this just looks like good trading right here. Crude oil popped as well. Crude oil up 20 cents. S&P is right back down to 6,800. All right, I'm gonna go with a make it a solid bouncing gold. It's a market that's in an uptrend, right? So having reasonable expectations for shorts is extremely important right now in gold. Yeah, in gold, I'm gonna sell a one lot micro in the Nasdaq, risking about 50 bucks on this. Small size, but this looks like continuation volume. This VWAP is starting to slant lower. And we'll look for a 2 to 1 on this potentially. I may add to this if we push back up in the 40s and hold. We close above this VWAP without this VWAP leaving the range. I'm taking the trade off early. How do you add more scaling properly? Start with small size initially, right? I'm comfortable getting into 5 micros on this trade, but I want to be in this because I don't know that it's going to give me the pull up, right? So I can't put all my risk up front, right? And then if it gives me the area that I'm looking for, and I already am saying, right, I'm looking for this pull up to here, I can get into 5 micros max. Then I just wait, right? I think the best way to scale in is to not put all your risk on up front, because then you kind of have to be right about the trade. Um, yeah, NQ is right at settlement here. There was a seller here earlier. Seller here right on the close, actually. Seller here right on the close. I'm looking for 300s and then 290s as a target here. But we need to see this follow through, right? I don't want this high volume. When I see high volume, I ask myself 2 questions: who's in control? Is what they're doing sustainable? Right? And the market will tell you here who was in control at this high with this high volume at these highs when we made all-time highs. Buyers in control, right? They had a candle here that was 5 times the average volume. That's hard to sustain. What happens as soon as we close below it? That's when the sellers come in. So same thing here. If we don't get immediate follow through, let's look at this view up here. See how it flattened out? I don't want this to do that. So if we close above this view up here, I'll just take the trade off and maybe take it again up at the upper extreme of the range, like we saw gold. Yeah, when we do the 2 ATR stop, we're looking for 4 ATRs, right? So a 2 to 1 trade. Let's see. Still like this trade, but just want to see some continuation. What size on the 2 ATR stop? It depends on the time. It's two ATRs on the time frame that you're looking at. So right now I'm on a 3 minute chart, right? So the ATR is 7 points. So the 2 ATR stop would be 14. I told you. Told me what? Told you is actually your first message in the chat today. Told somebody something yesterday. Look to the left to the New York session. One high volume candle. Does it count in your strategy? This one here, somewhat, but I don't like it because it's the closing volume, right? Which is always going to be high volume. So I give that less weight than something that happens in the middle of the day. But you can look at it. I mean, we're responding to it right now. But because it's the closing volume, I give it less weight. But the market still traded volume there, right? So you can still look at it. But there's something important there, right? We talked to Dakota and I went to the floor on Monday, stock exchange floor. There's some people who only trade MOC, right? So someone did something here, and we know that there's longer time frame market participants. Uh, that these prices mean something to somebody. All that gold reversal to the T, right? So pretty Lily, this is what I'm talking about, right? Calling it and trading it. Where did gold stop? Right? So we try to be transparent about what we're all dealing with as traders. This is what I'm struggling with right now. Taking this every time it sets up. I did execute it really well, right? Uh, because I exited the trade there. Should I be getting in long, hitting the reverse right away? I'm not gonna, beat myself up over that, but that's exactly why, uh, I'm putting a little bit of pressure on myself now to execute every time I say something on Topstep TV. Buy it, trade it says, honestly, glad you understand that volume. But for me, I am like, what if they are buy stops? Like I had a buy stop and that would have counted as a buy. Yeah. So when I'm reading volume, uh, it's, you can make assumptions. Oh, is somebody long? Is somebody short? Uh, I think what's more important is watching the market's response to, no, I'm still in the trade. I'm still in the trade. Uh, Watching the market's response to these high volume areas, right? I don't, we don't, when we see a buy on the tape, we don't know whether that person is buying to open, buying to close, they're buying a hedge, whatever it is, but they traded volume there for a reason. Um, and then we just interpret how the market is responding to that volume when it does, right? Like whoever sold this, I don't know why they were selling. They could have been profit taking. But if I'm selling to close a position, which meant I was long, I don't need the market to go up. If I'm selling to open a position, I'm looking for the market to go down, right? So then we watch that response to there. You see we're rejecting right at this highs of these high volume. So this is our range for right now. Chauncey wants me to give a shout out to your wife, Barbie, 14-year anniversary. Congratulations on 14 years. That is amazing. Starting to learn how to trade. Top step ever make a TikTok? I don't know. I don't know about that one. All right, let's see this MNQ trade. What are we doing here? I really don't want to see this above 43s. I'm trying to give it the space to work, but lack of follow through volume, VWAP flattened out. We could just go right back up to this high. What is my strategy based off? Lucas, I think I've said volume 200 times uh, since we started this. My strategy is based on volume, reading the flow of the market and trying to get in the flow of the market. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna take this off. I could always get back in. We'll see what happens up at these highs, up at 350 if we get a rejection there. But yeah, my strategy is based on volume. I believe that volume moves the market, right? There are every time you place a trade, especially for live traders, where your books are your orders are going out there on the order book. You have the potential to move the market. Now, sometimes people laugh and when you say that, it's just like, oh, you can't move a market. It's like I could. I may be only able to move it a tick or two, but somebody who's able to trade 1,000 contracts could move the market way more because they have a bigger contracts, bigger position size, bigger account. Um, so reading that volume and then trying to interpret what their intentions are, that's my goal. How long trading and who did I learn from? I've been trading for 13 years and I learned most of what I do from a guy named Rich Lepis, who ran a group called Ahead of the Charts. Rich is no longer with us, unfortunately, but he ran a group called Ahead of the Charts where he traded stocks and did so based on order flow, reading the depth of market, time of sales, and trying to interpret, um, you know, what market participants were trying to do based on reading the tape. Uh, Richard Harris, I saw you had that SMB tape reading class. I'm curious how that went. 'Cause, a lot of information in there. When you say volume, is it an indicator? So I'm looking at a couple different things, right? I'm looking at VWAP, right? So this red line, and what I was saying before is that I like to anchor VWAP to high volume, and then I'm looking at the volume indicator on the bottom of my charts, right? So bottom of my chart here. Notice I'm not picking out every single candle. Go back to gold. Why did I pick out the candles that we're looking at in gold? When you look at this, there are just going to be some that stick out, right? It's like a big, almost a big middle finger just kind of sticking up in the middle of the charts, right? So I want to watch the market's reaction to these, right? I just want to watch the market's reaction right now, and then I want to watch VWAP, right? So from and if you so a lot of this stuff as well, the anchored VWAP stuff, right? Shout out to Brian Shannon who wrote the book on anchored VWAP and is probably responsible for why we have anchored VWAP on any of our platforms. Um, he talks about anchoring VWAP to event-based anchors, right? So think of it this way: when we have a non-farm payroll, all of the market participants who are trading these markets are going to respond to non-farm payroll and show us what their intentions are based on that information. I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm not smart enough to interpret the non-farm payroll and how it's going to affect the markets, but the volume in the market is smart enough to, or they have to, right? Somebody has to trade 10,000 contracts in the Nasdaq a day. I don't. I just have to follow them, right? So that's why I read the volume. And when they show us a footprint, right, volume footprint charts, when they show us their footprint, they give us a show of hand. They tell us, kind of show what their intentions are. Then we can make our assumptions from there, right? The current 30-minute candle in gold. You ever gonna get Brian on over on Anchored View Up? He's been on on Top Step TV before. I think I'm gonna reach out to him. We've like passed messages back and forth on uh Twitter a couple of times. I would love to talk with him on At the Buzzer because watch At the Buzzer. Me and Coach Paul talk about volume all the time. Brian Shannon, if you're listening, let's talk. All right. If you guys got any questions, put them in the chat. I think we may have gotten to the 400 likes. Do you guys want to do trade review or do we want to keep talking markets? We do got markets kind of moving right now. I may get right back into that NASDAQ trade, right? Because we rejected. Yep, I'm in short. Selling two. Not risking a whole lot here, but I like this rejection up at these 40s. That was the original trade. So I'm right back in. Lost $14 on that first one. Now looking for the push to see if we can get down to 300s. Don't want to see this stop here now, right? We held that 50%. That's what we talked about originally. I preempted the trade. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but I'm okay getting right back in when it is still valid. Now we just need to see some continuation. If not, trade is off. I know this may sound dumb. Can you show on the chart an example of VWAP pullback with a small rejection? Get that recently. I have to find an example. Let's see. No, that's not it. I would have to find an example. I'm looking at a couple of different charts to see if we get it. Gold is moving. Yeah, gold is uh, pushing to the upside. Again, I'm happy with the reasonable expectations I had on that short. I was looking for. I mean, I kind of was looking for gold to test 4,000s. The market said we don't care. Uh, where's Dakota in your basement? No, Dakota's on a flight back to Utah. Uh, yeah, but here we go. Gold is back above that original high volume candle that we anchored to. Why don't you anchor the lowest candles of Asia and try a long? I could. Honestly, my long spot in gold was 40.20. Next best spot was 40.30. I didn't take that trade now, so I feel like I'd be chasing this long. If am looking for a long in gold at this point, it's off of this VWAP, 40.40s. Yep, because this is and why this candle, right? This was that Shanghai open. So if I'm looking at this as an opening range trade, from this point we had price trade lower. You see volume didn't go with it, so we get that reversal. But price is also volume is also not leaving this to the upside right now. So if I'm buying here, I'm buying in hopes that somebody continues to buy this. Right? At least if I get a pullback to this VWAP, I know I'm where the bigger volume is. Right, this Nasdaq trade is looking a little better now. You guys see where that rejection came from, right? And why I was so quick to jump right back into that trade. High volume sometimes means continuation, right? And if I'm at the end of the stream, there may not be enough flow for me to push. So we got to go find some of it right at 50%. Gives me a spot to limit risk. We're pretty close to a 1-to-1 on this trade. Now they just need to continue the flow to the downside. And there we go. Do I look at Bookmap? I'm not looking at Bookmap. I'm honestly I'm like a caveman, guys. Bookmap is too much information on my screens for me. But I look at time and sales and volume and just go from there. Okay, so gold just had a big spike of volume. 400 contracts traded in a second. 50% of it. Am I shorting? Yeah, I'm short right now in the Nasdaq. I just want to see some continuation here, though. Is this level where we could bounce? I don't want to take the risk off this trade yet. This is really not invalidated, and I could always just get out. Right? Really, what I'm risking is above this high. I just don't want to see the market get back above that. Actually, that's what I'm gonna do. We get back above this 50%. I don't need to be in this trade, so that's where I'll get out. Got some size down here on the Nasdaq at 304. 81 contracts bid at 304. Let's see if we can go fill those. Why did I short gold? If you rewind and watch that one, I explained it. Want to stay kind of locked in on this Nasdaq trade. Again, gold just had a ton of volume trade at the highs right there, up at 56. It was 50-50 on the delta, so kind of take it with a grain of salt. But there was some volume there. Come on, Nasdaq, just follow through. Keep selling it down to 300s. 296. Where do you see 400 contracts? 400 contracts traded in a second. So let me go over to gold real quick. Show you what I'm looking at. Again, I showed you that quant hour chart. It shows clearly on there, but if I go to a 1 second chart here, you see this? It's a 1 second chart. So I don't, there we go. More of it. Another 300 contracts just traded in a second in gold. See why I didn't buy it at those highs yet? Now, is this giving us the pullback that I'm looking for back to where that heavy volume was? Because all we did so far was trade back into the Globex session open and reject. Yeah. I don't know. I always suggest trading off a 1 second chart, but it is good to kind of see. It's almost like looking at time and sales. It's almost like looking at time and sales. How much am I paying for the quant tower thing? I think I bought a lifetime uh license. Why do people hate on VWAP so much? I mean, what I hear a lot is VWAP doesn't work. And I could say that there's no indicator that works, right? It's about your interpretation of the information. And maybe they just didn't spend the time to interpret the information, right? I read that Brian Shannon book because I'm like, volume moves the market, in my opinion. If somebody doesn't share that opinion, that's cool. Uh, you know, uh, but I think with anything where it's just like, oh, this strategy doesn't work. I saw somebody ask earlier, what do you think about ICT strategies? I think anything that can repeatedly help you make decisions in the market is a valid strategy. Uh, Ultimately, we're all trading the same prices, so it can't be that damn different. It's like speaking a language, right? We all may speak different languages, but we're conveying the same messages, right? Uh, and that's ultimately what this is. But the prices are all the same. Do I use volume profile? I don't really. I do have charts where I'll have a daily volume profile up. My quant hour charts, the 30-minute chart, I have a daily volume profile up, but I don't use it too much. Visually, it's just too much on the screen for me. Not that it works. It's just 99% of traders don't understand VWAP. Yeah, I mean, yeah, nothing works. Nothing doesn't work. It's all about your interpretation of it. Uh, there are times where VWAP is telling me don't click any buttons besides close your platform, right? But sometimes traders think, oh, if it's VWAP, then I should be buying at it or selling at it. It's not what that means, uh, right? If VWAP is flat and I'm trading at VWAP, I'm asking to lose that trade. Let's get some continuation here, Nasdaq. We got about 20 minutes left here. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to trade reviews. I think hopefully, this information has been helpful. It's how I look at the markets every day. Um, Again, like I said, what I'm going through right now as a trader is making sure I execute on everything that I say. I've been re-listening to opening calls and being like, man, you called out 200-point trades in the Nasdaq to the tick. You got to take those. So, uh, uh, I learned a lot regarding your strategy tonight, which I like. How can I learn more? All right, give me 1 second. I'm gonna drop some links in the chat for you guys. One of them is to the 150K subscriber class that we did. Mine was on technical analysis. Well, each coach had to do risk management, technical analysis, and trading psychology. My trading psychology, I don't know where that recording went, but I'm gonna drop the link to the volume class. It's a 2-hour volume class. I kind of go over exactly what I'm looking at as far as volume. So you can definitely watch that if you're interested. There's that in the chat. I'll post a couple more links here as well. What made you choose that TP? 300 whole number level. There's some size down at 304s. Uh, and Foxy Trader, yeah, I try to, when I remember to, I try to put VWAP on every high volume candle. All right. What else was I doing here? Do we go break even? I went to my stop right now is at 334s. Again, manage your own trades. I'm just looking for some follow through. If this, there's really never say anything is a guarantee, but I really like this trade. I'll say it that way. I really like this. This rejection here at 50% of this volume right here is an A plus setup for Jay. That's why I just jumped right back into the trade. Now, whether or not it plays out and gives me the result I'm looking for, different story. But this is an A plus setup. Right? I should have took it with 3 minis. Right? You never have enough on when it's your good trades, but that is all right. Give me 1 second. I'm getting a couple more links for you guys here. I try to post on Twitter and Instagram as much as I can. with some of this stuff. So here's Twitter, and we are holding below settlement. My stop right now is right above settlement. Settlement is 331. My stop is at 334. Here's Instagram. How does the payout system work for Topstep after payout? Your MLO is zero. What about remaining balance? So make sure you read it on the Topstep X webpage. It breaks it down there, but basically, if you take a payout, whenever you take a payout, your drawdown on the account goes to zero, right? So your max drawdown goes to zero. So let's say you have an account that has $1,000 balance in it. You take $500 out. Your max loss limit is now that $500 that's left in the account because the drawdown goes to zero. So what a lot of people say is make sure you clear that initial drawdown, so then you don't have to make any adjustments after you take your payout. Um, what I say is if you've never taken a payout before and you're eligible for one, pay yourself something. But ideally, you want to try to clear whatever the initial drawdown is on your account so you don't have to adjust your trading. Would I add on to this position? A great question. That is a great question. It's a great question. Hmm. No, no, I wouldn't. But this was an A+ setup for sure. But I'm not adding yet because again I'm in a phase right now that I'm just clicking the button every time I see something set up. Uh, so this is good for now. Uh, where I would consider adding to this is if we pull up to 30s and hold, right? So every time I trail, right now I'm trailing because we're above. So where's my stop, right? Technically, we had some nice continuation volume here. My stop's right above that high. If we trade into this candle, let's say we trade up to this high here, 334s, and it doesn't stop me out, I'll add. Because now I'm not really adding any risk on that trade. What's the rectangle box called? It's just a fib tool. Uh, it's a fib retracement. I just took everything out of the middle, right? So all the fib levels, which for fib traders, you guys use them, but I use high, low, 50%. Feel like gold wants to move down. I am new, but what do you mean above the settlement? So settlement price is the price that the exchange marks the market closed. That is at 25,331. My stop is just above settlement. Basically, the way I look at settlement is if we're trading above it, the market's green on the day. If we're trading below it, the market's red on the day. So I like to watch the market's response to settlement because you are trying to keep the market green, you're going to buy it there. If you trying to keep the market red, you're going to sell it there. Uh, feel like gold wants to move down. I don't know, man. We had that volume spike up at those highs. They're still holding for now. I think gold actually did give us the pullback that I was looking for. Maybe it didn't get all the way down there. All right. Who wanted me to add to this Nasdaq trade? Let's see. There it is. Get out the way. Short another two. All right. I'm short 4 micros now, risking $10. We pushed up to the high, that high volume. We didn't trade above it. That's the trade. Right. I'll pay for the commissions. I'll make $10 if we don't get any follow through. Did I drop the link on volume? Yeah, I did. I'll drop it again. Do you set your settlement? I don't even know what it's set to be honest. I think it's just the platform does it. I'm looking at quant hour settlement right now. It's 25,331. Could be a little bit off, but I don't know that I have a time set on it. What's your balance? This is a brand new XFA, so I think whatever I'm up on the day. I don't know. Trying not to even think about balance, not trying to think about P&L, any of that. I just want to take good trades. Take good trades. When you call out great trades time and time again, you at a point right now, I don't care how much I make from them. I just want to take them because then I'll know I'll scale up when it's time. Have I got a live? And there you go. I'm out. So that ad didn't cost me a whole lot. I'm out there. Coming towards the end of the session, we didn't get the follow through I was looking for, at least in my time frame. On a higher time frame, where did we trade to? We were talking about, this 20 moving average on the 30-minute as a potential target. We didn't get exactly down there. So I don't know that this move is over, but my trade's over for now. If we push up into 350s again and reject, would I take the short again? Potentially. But just not really seeing a lot of follow through to the downside, which makes sense. It's the overnight session, always going to be lower volume. That's why I like trading the New York session, because look at this. Look at this volume compared to what we have right now. The movement is just going to be more fluid. And we talk about that in that class there. Wise Dream Prod. I see your message. You don't got to spam it. I got you. If I have 1,000, I pay myself 500. My account goes back to zero. You have 1,000 in your account and you take $500 out. You have $500 of drawdown left. Make sure you read that Topstep FAQ page. If you take out 500, you have 500 left to draw down. Okay, see, so here's where I micromanage that trade. Where should the stop have been? Where should the stop have been? Right? For everything we just did today, right? Hopefully you guys get a little bit of insight on how I trade. Where should the stop have been? Midpoint of the volume bar? Nope. Right above settlement, right? Right above the high of this candle. You notice we didn't take it out? Right? So sometimes your favorite quarterback on Sundays, they're going to throw an interception, right? They're going to make the wrong read. Uh, they might overread sometimes, right? But where should the stop have been? Right above where that high was. And that trade is still valid, right? Volume is still holding. We have the potential to continue to trade lower down to 300s. Right, 10 minutes left here. Any questions that you guys have, put them in the chat. Yeah, Kevin, I agree. Make sure you read when you're paying for anything. And Topstep has some of the simplest payout rules there are probably the simplest payout rules there are. But if you're gonna pay somebody for anything, make sure you know what the terms are. Make sure you know what the terms are. Okay, here we go. Gold. Yeah, I mean, I still like this Nasdaq trade. I still like this Nasdaq trade. It's just stair stepping lower. Do you believe in the 79% extension on Topstep? Do I believe in it? I believe anything works to the extent that it helps you make repeatable trading decisions. If you find that the market responds to 79% retracements and you take the trade, take it every single time it shows up. It's not something that I use, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't work, right? I'll never invalidate anybody's trading strategy, because truly, again, like I said before, we're all looking at the same shit. So if 79% makes you feel comfortable and that's where you take your trades, take them every time. Why not find an entry on a lower time frame? I'm pretty low right now. I'm on a 3-minute. I don't really like to go any lower than that, because I do have quant hour showing me, the volume in the 1 second thing, and I do have a time and sales up as well. I think the 3-minute is just, it's a comfortable space for me to be. Right, still not invalidated. Could I get back in? I'm not going to. We're gonna wrap the session here, and I know volume. Look at the volume decreasing here, so we may start to range a little bit. 477 likes. We appreciate it. Me and Dakota will do. I know I promised you guys trade reviews, but I think we. Yeah, I'm out. I'm out of that trade. Okay, here we go. Gold. Go. Let's go to the micros. Shanghai open. We're right back at it. Volumes above the high. All right, long 2 micro gold. This will be my last trade. Risking 210 on this, and let's go get all-time highs. That's the pullback I was looking for. Uh, could it probably be a better trade location at 50%? But again, I'm not risking a whole lot, so that will be it. Right. We got 8 minutes. I perfected your strategy with my line chart strategy. Win rate is 75% for the month. Nice. Going to rewatch this? Nice. Good stuff. Hopefully this helped everybody with their trading. Gave you a little bit of insight of how I look at the markets. When I'm saying some stuff on opening call, where what Hogan and I do during the opening call, what I like to do is, and you may have heard me say this, Hogue, look at the highest volume 30, because we look at the daily and the 30-minute, right? Look at the highest volume 30-minute candle from this date or whatever it is, and the market responds to it. So that when you hear me on opening call, mapping out some stuff, hopefully you guys now understand. And again, I don't know everything. You think Nasdaq is reversing back to the upside? If it's going to do that, it has some work to do to get above these candles. We can see it like look at any of these high volume candles so far in the Nasdaq. We haven't closed above any of the highs. We got one here. We got another one here. We got another one here. Right. So could you find a low to buy potentially? But right now, what is the flow saying of this market? It's to the downside. Gold. Is there a way to put the fib retracement on my chart? Yeah. On the left side here, 3 icons down, you got fib retracement, top of the menu. Click and then click on the charts. I use Alt F is the hotkey. That's why you don't see me clicking anything, because I use this literally all the time to just map out candles. So Alt F is the hotkey. But yeah, I think the Nasdaq does probably have another leg lower. Gold is going to be probably my one losing trade on the night. That volume up at that high there. All right, let me show you guys one more thing. One more thing. We're going to bring back up Quant Tower real quick. This gold trade is probably going to stop me out. So you see this up here? Ton of volume got absorbed there at those 55s. Let me clear this chart up. Ton of volume absorbed here. What does the market do? It runs away from it. Let me see something. I'll show you this way. All right, so attaching VWAP to high volume, right? 600, 400 contracts traded in a second there. When I attached this VWAP here, on that 1 second that we had all that volume, what did the volume do afterwards? Right? Event-based VWAP. What was the event? 400 contracts traded in a second. What's the market's response to that? Volume traded lower. Not just price, volume trading lower. So now I can get in against this volume. My trade is against this flow right now, which is probably why I'm going to get stopped out. Any good trades? I took a good, what did I take? What trades did I take? Took a good gold short, Nasdaq short, and now I'm in a gold long. That's probably going to stop me out here. But we got 4 minutes to go. Let's go over the schedule for tomorrow. I'm going to pull back up Topstep X real quick. Coach Jay, I'm praying to the trading gods that Richard the idiot does not hit his dumb. Richard Harris, your reverse psychology strategy, it's an interesting one. Lots of great financial advice today. No, this is not the financial advice class. Never has been, never will be. All right, what was I doing? Going over the schedule. schedule for tomorrow. We know we got Aaron coming up with the London trade in just a couple hours here. Tomorrow's Thursday. All right, so we got Aaron with the London Open, 1:30 a.m. Central Time. Deanna with the Euro Trade, 3:30 a.m. Central. Myself, Hogue, JD for opening call. Aaron is going to be back for fast markets. So if you're trading gold, you want to trade it during fast markets, Aaron's going to be back. So is Mo and Jacob. Hogue for the recap. Me, Senna, and Dakota for trade with Topstep. Senna's on my VIP team. Really good trader as well. Jack and Ben for shoulder tap. JD, Hogan, Hoop for group coaching. Jack, Angie, and Baron. Baron's going to be on later in the day. Andre, Arico, and Dolby for power hour. Myself and Coach Paul for at the buzzer. And then tomorrow, slow markets is going to be Coach Dakota and Baron. Thanks everybody for joining tonight. Hopefully you guys all had a good time. Hopefully, profitable trades based on a strategy that you've, identified and you can trust on your own. And if you learn something from me, I think the best way to learn and trust something is to understand how someone looks at a market and then try to put it in your own words, right? That's how you really get a grasp on what it is that you're looking at. And then you don't have to look for anybody else for signals. If you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up button. We appreciate you all. As always, Bruno, thank you for helping me run this session. Talk to you all tomorrow for the opening call.